Am I the butthole for my reaction when I got home and found my 6-month-old daughter wearing the same diaper for 9 hours? I 35F been busy with work. I'm a nurse, and taking care of my 6-month-old baby girl and her 6-year-old sister. My husband worked night shifts 3 nights a week, so he's usually sleeping at home during the day. He got himself a PS5 a month ago. He started spending time playing. He used to handle some of the house chores. Now all he does is make excuses of how tired he is and how much he needs sleep. But he'd come home from his shift and starts playing. He drinks a lot of coffee to stay concentrated and awake. Also, he stopped eating properly. Keeps forgetting to do things I ask him to do. Like help fix his daughter's toys / take turns in changing diapers, etc. I started calling my mom to come help since he's been too busy to do simple things. He didn't like that I asked others for help and said I didn't have to. That he'll start helping again. I actually believed him and left for my 8-hour shift at the hospital, and before I left I reminded him of everything he needed to do, from feeding / changing diapers / cleaning our daughter's room, etc. He said don't worry about it, and then I left. I called him to check on the kids and he said everything was fine. I came home in the evening and I was shocked to see our 6-month-old's bed was put in the living room. Her stuff on the couch. While he was playing. She didn't stop crying. He said he didn't know what was wrong. Turned out he didn't change the diaper after I left. She was wearing the same diaper for 9 hours. He said he forgot, but he was busy playing. I immediately took care of her. I knew her rash was going to get worse after that. My 6-year-old's hair was a mess. He didn't brush her hair. The kitchen was a mess. I was livid, kept yelling at him for being neglectful and reckless and literally forgetting about his own kids over a game. He said that I was overreacting and that it was my fault for not reminding him on the phone. I told him it was my fault for leaving the kids with someone who doesn't even brush his teeth. He got offended and left the house minutes later. His mom called me telling me that my husband stays up at night to make a living for his kids and that I was pressuring him by giving him more than he could handle. I tried to explain, but she kept lashing out, calling me controlling, and said I might be frustrated from my job, that's why I'm taking it out on him. I hung up on her and had to take care of all of that mess. Sorry for any mistakes, I'm just so exhausted. NTA, if my husband did this himself and his PS5 would be out the door. You know what he tell me? He says I don't get to tell him earn and how much time he should spend playing since he purchased it with his money. This annoyed me. Like he's shaming me for not contributing, like it's an important thing. Again, he could talk until he's blue in the face. If my husband let a child sit in piss for 8 hours, he would be hearing from my divorce lawyer. I'm sure the pictures of the rash left behind would be good evidence on court. Piss and poop. 9 hours without pooping for an infant? Unlikely. Man, my husband frustrates me sometimes, but I've never had to worry about literal child neglect. You have my deepest sympathies. 9 hours without pooping is possible because he probably didn't feed her either. This makes me even sadder and angrier, I swear. Right? I'm sitting here looking at my 4-day-old baby and I just can't even imagine that kind of behavior. I enjoy my video games, but I love her even more and could never do that to my child. 4 days? Congratulations. My life has never been happier since the day my son was born. Wishing you the best. And I promise, you will sleep again. This stage is just survival, but it doesn't last long. Thanks, I do miss a good old-fashioned full night's sleep, lol. It's worth it though. My baby is 11 days old and you have no idea how much I needed to read this, thank you. Edit, wow, thanks for the award. Yes, sleep will come and on the day they reciprocate the love, with hugs or when they learn to talk, it makes everything even more worth it. They will get smarter and sweeter and yeah, more testy and pushy, but negotiable too. It's so hard the first 6 months to a year, but it's so worth it. I promise. My baby will be turning 3 in February and she is so amazing, I can't believe I made her. I have refused to change a diaper every time someone has asked me, but even I wouldn't leave a kid in a diaper for 9 hours if I was the only one around. I would be pissed, but I wouldn't let them sit in crap because I am not a monster. Exactly. I'm vehemently child-free, and babies make my skin crawl, and I'd still step in and help if I was literally the only one who could help the kid. But the 6-year-old was there. Couldn't she have contributed so Daddy wouldn't have had to stop playing his video games? I thought the same thing. Poor thing was probably starving and soaking wet. She won't stop crying and I've tried absolutely nothing. Ops husband. I once read about a so-called father who killed his baby out of frustration because she was crying while he was trying to concentrate on his game. This happens all the time, especially when the father is not the biological father. My country is rife with child abuse and child killings by non-biological fathers. It's some kind of effed up systemic thing with the lower economic groups. It's some kind of effed up systemic thing with men. This happens more than you want to know. Husband here and also a gamer. I'm disgusted by the level of selfishness of this man, and his mom is a total piece of work. Little boy runs home complaining to mommy after leaving his helpless child crying for help for hours. I don't know how you could ever even let this man near your kids again. Sell the PS5. And use the money to hire's lawyer. Edit. NTA. Thanks for the awards. Be kind to each other. Father and gamer here as well, and I second this. I will literally be just starting a round of an online game, and if my daughter cries because she's tired, hungry, has a diaper, whatever, I immediately leave the round, if not quit out entirely. Is it annoying at points because I just want to play my Xbox? Sure, but I'm not going to just neglect an entire human being who has to rely on me for literally everything. My daughter is 5 months old, so this post absolutely had me effing livid. Edit. Thanks for the award, kind stranger. This is the first I've been given one, so again thank you. Edit 2. Geez, I thought this comment was just going to get lost. I'm surprised by how much attention it's managed to grab. I'm a gamer mom, 6 and 3. I have two types of games, ones that can be paused at any time and ones that can't. If the game can't be paused, I don't play it until after the girls are asleep. Gamer dad here. I won't ignore my dog when gaming, let alone my kid. Dog might have to wait 3 or 4 minutes to go outside, but never longer. Lol. I once, as a teen, let my dog wait for 5 minutes. Came out of my room to a pooplosion. Cleanup for sure was more annoying than getting to her instantly would have been. Smiley face. I have to be honest with you here, nothing else about your situation matters. I'm a mandatory reporter, and if I knew you or your husband, and about this situation, I would be compelled to call CPS on you. I could care less about him, you, your jobs or schedules. This is about the welfare of an infant. What you've described above is child neglect and borderline abuse. Your husband needs serious help, counseling. If you allow this to continue, and ever leave your child in his care, without him seeking that help, then this becomes an ESH situation. She's a nurse, isn't she a mandated reporter herself? Yes, actually she is. By law she should report her own husband's child neglect. This is a horrible situation for her. Depends on where she is. You are not obligated to report a close family member even if they committed a crime in the country where I live. Morally you're obligated. Forget the squirming out of it. We all as decent humans have a moral obligation to take care of and safeguard the vulnerable people who can't take care of themselves. Some crimes knowing and not reporting makes you an accomplice or co-conspirator. I've seen a lot of child abuse cases where one spouse did nothing but keep silent and they got nearly as severe as a punishment. I was going to say, this is CPS territory, and if it happens again those kids need to be placed on foster care to be protected from their butthole father. Original post isn't a butthole yet, but the next time this happens because she leaves her children in the care of someone she knows will neglect them, she sure becomes one. You're not a butthole as long as you never intentionally leave your children in their father's care again unless it's because you've been compelled to by a court. I'm thinking original post should get all her information in order. If where she lives, this is legally considered neglect or abuse, and or if she is mandated to report it, I would write mother-in-law a letter with this clearly explained. Then I would politely tell her she is never to call original post again to harass her over her concern for her child or her husband's inexcusable behavior. Then I would spell out her decisions on how to handle this, whatever they may be. If mother-in-law can be considered legally culpable, I would make that clear as well. Certainly, if CPS gets involved, mother-in-law may find her time with her grandchild legally restricted. I would suggest original post start keeping a log. It's not borderline abuse, neglect is abuse. Period, hard stop. No ifs, ands or buts about it. CPS needs to be called, immediately. Husband needs to be kicked out of the home and a nanny needs to be hired immediately. Plus, I'd be taking that child to a pediatric clinic ASAP. Making sure that a yeast infection and UTI aren't imminent and that the diaper rash that has obviously come from this is being addressed with a medical professional. Report the husband immediately to the pediatrician, to the police and to CPS. Get a protective order. Child neglect, and in this case infant neglect, is abuse. In my state she would also be a mandatory reporter as a nurse. This is absolutely neglect. I know Am I the Butthole rules will make this not matter in the long run, but you just voted ESH on this post. You can put spaces in between, ESH, if you don't want it to count as a judgment. NTA, your husband isn't a competent father and is blaming you for it. It's awful. I'm exhausted and overwhelmed. It's too much to take and he just keeps thinking I'm treating him poorly and putting too much pressure on him, but it's quite the opposite. You shouldn't be babying him, allowing him to be a baby in his own home while you already have a kid that needs your attention. If he can't take care of his own kid, then he needs to go to work full-time. Talk to him about this, and don't let him deflect it onto you. Tell him his PS5 isn't as important as his own kid, and if he can't treat your child correctly, then you'll ask your mom for help. But just on personal experience, my uncle does the same thing, always on games and says he needs to after work, he's tired, etc. And now my cousin is at the age she understood she's not as important as games. Your child will have a perception of who loves them more. I'm sorry, this sounds like a very difficult situation for you, but you need to leave him if he's actively participating in child neglect on that scale. CPS could be called for this. This isn't normal. I honestly would recommend separation until he gets his addiction under control. And his mother sucks. Seriously, addiction is the right word. If you can't stop what you're doing and instead decide to let your child sit in a dirty diaper for 9 hours, you have a serious problem. He might as well have been passed out drunk. The dopamine hits from gaming are a real thing. It's not unlike gambling. The fact that he didn't feel guilt or empathy for the kid shows that his brain is beginning to rewire itself due to the addiction. I'm not a huge fan of ultimatums, but he needs to choose, either kid or games. He isn't healthy enough to have both. Which would also be a good reason to kick someone out. It's keeping your children safe from there, even if it's non-intentional, abuse. Totally agree. It's just like, I do this sometimes. Get so obsessed with a game I go on binges playing it. But I don't have kids. And I have never neglected to walk and feed my dog. And I don't have any other responsibilities that are falling to the wayside. Exactly, I am a mandated reporter and this is absolutely something I would be legally obligated to report if this was said in my presence while I was on the job. Same. If I knew who this person was in real life, I would be obligated to report. And with original post being a nurse. If she's a nurse, isn't she a mandated reporter as well? Your husband does not care about his daughter. She was next to him for 9 hours and he didn't care enough about her to change her effing diaper. Something that would take less than 5 minutes. The fact that he thinks taking care of his daughter is all about, and ultimately all on, you is disgusting. Your daughter deserves better, and so do you. Get out up. Get your daughter out of there. She deserves to be surrounded by people who hear her cry and won't stop until they help her feel better. Her sport donor isn't one of them. Working nights to support you, my butt. He'll be working those hours when he's single and has no custody too. Not to mention you're bringing in your own paycheck and still taking care of his kid. The fact that he thinks taking care of his daughter is all about, and ultimately all on, you is disgusting. And that original post had a plan to have someone care for child and he changed it. Not only does he think taking care of the daughter is Op's responsibility, he is actively preventing her from doing it. This is the part that kills me. He literally got mad at her for making other arrangements. She stopped making other arrangements to let him handle it. He very much did not handle it and harmed their child as a result, and acts like it's somehow her fault? Deeply entitled and deeply stupid. NTA, that's legal neglect, like thousands of dollars fine and possible jail time. Neglect, not changing an infant's diaper for 9 hours. Either he needs to wake TF up or you should take the kids and go, Because I don't see that behavior changing anytime soon. On top of the diaper, did he even feed the baby? If he couldn't be bothered to change the diaper, did he bother to take the time to feed her? I mean, the diaper, you can tell. But you can't tell if she ate, since she was already crying anyway. Op needs to get the hell out. If a grown man can't be trusted to not abuse and neglect a baby and a child, his own kids even, and then he's not husband material, he's divorce and terminated parental rights material. It didn't even occur to me the kid may not have eaten. Worse than that, it's 2 kids. And no way is this the first time he's done this. He may as well have given them extension cords and forks to keep them busy while he plays. Like that one yesterday about the baby daddy who gave the baby a lighter to chew on because he didn't like hearing the baby cry? Not only did the kid probably not eat, she probably didn't have any water, either, and dehydration is a lot more damaging and potentially deadly than hunger. I'm guessing at 6 months that feeding her refers to milk rather than actual food. There is also a small child. 2 kids. And he probably didn't even hold or pick her up during that time, and just allowed her to cry in her crib, starving and marinating in her piss and crap. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.